Well, hello, Mr. Ibrahim Momoh. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon, my time, evening your time in the Nigerian capital, Abuja. You are a political analyst, and the latest report we are hearing is that former President Goodluck Jonathan has decided to run for office in the next general election. When you heard the news, as a Nigerian, one, a political analyst, two, what was your reaction?
Well, it is for me. It was interesting that former President Goodluck Jonathan was seeking to recontest for the office he left some 10 years ago. It was an interesting one. I think it's interesting because um, there's this informal zone arrangement that they do in Nigeria where power rotates between the north and the south. And so, after 8 years of a Muhammadu Buhari administration, power has kind of come to the southern part of the country, and the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is from the south, similar, just like Goodluck Jonathan. So, it appears that he's playing into two levels of sentiments. One is the tone. They do this kind of interchange between the north and the south. So he's trying to key into the period within which the southern part of the country is supposed to rule one. And then, significantly, because he has been president before, he cannot contest for his more than one other term. He's also playing, he's trying to play a card that suggests that, well, with me, you are sure that I have a term in office, I can't come back. Constitutionally, I cannot come back. So, so it was interesting to see that he's in the race. He's trying to come into the race. Even though he has not officially declared his intention to run.
But Ibrahim, let me ask you this: is the political space in Nigeria rife for somebody like President Goodluck Jonathan to decide to run? Is there a groundswell of support? Because we heard there were preliminary attempts to try to woo him because they think the present administration might not have kept its promises and Nigerians might have been disillusioned that their aspirations and their expectations are not being met, which they said creates a platform such as this for either President Goodluck Jonathan or other prominent political parties to take advantage of the situation. Your thoughts?
Well, for me, I think it's not the best of timing with all sense of responsibility. First, you have a very um, politically savvy president as incumbent. His ruling party is majority in the number of subnational the states that have the governorships. He has the majority of governors on his side. He has the majority of both houses of the both chambers of National Assembly also on his side. It appears that the ruling party is by a mile leading in terms of the offices they are holding. And then when you go to the opposition, which Goodluck Jonathan happens to be in this context, it appears that he is further fracturing the opposition. In the wake of 2020 general elections, there was a Peter Obi from the Labour Party. There's also still Atiku Abubakar. These are candidates who came second and third in the last general elections. Both of them are still very interested in recontesting for this election. While Atiku Abubakar seems to have moved to a new or to another party from the PDP, it's called the ADC. Peter Obi is still not sure where he is. He's oscillating between deciding whether to join the ADC because he has been involved in the process of its emergence as a major political force. But he continues to maintain his links with the Labour Party. So himself is still not sure. So Jonathan coming to the race further fractures the opposition. With a very cohesive and formidable ruling party against a fractured opposition party, I think it is bad timing for Jonathan to want to run. He has name recognition, yes. Another thing that does not entirely work for him is that Jonathan is from the Ijaw nationality, which means it's a minority in terms of, because in Africa and in Nigeria inclusive, ethnic politics is also a factor. People vote sometimes based on primordial sentiments. It could be on ethnicity, it could also be on religion. And so he is also from the minority ethnic nationality. The Igbos, the Yorubas, and the Hausa Fulani are the major ethnic stock in the country. So when we look at these factors put together, it appears that it might be bad timing for him. Even though the informal arrangement of the power rotating between the north and the south tends to favor a Jonathan presidential bid, but put together other factors do not favor him.
Now, Ibrahim, talking about the fractious opposition party, the main opposition party in the last general election, the People's Democratic Party, which President Goodluck Jonathan led to win the election before becoming a president, or the party he joined, is in tatters at the moment. Some portions of it controlled by FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. There's a tussle, about who leads the party. There's the ADC talking about the fractious opposition front. What vehicle could the former president be even thinking about using to run for office? Because the ADC, the new opposition party, is trying to woo people into the party, although it's not that long ago since it was formed. People are wondering whether it has the structures across the country to win any political office. So all these dynamics, people are thinking, what vehicle, what political party will President Goodluck Jonathan use if he decides to indeed officially announce to contest?
Well, there's no in doubt that he's a member of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP. In fact, the person who actually announced a Jonathan comeback bid is Professor Jerry Ghana, who is a chieftain within the PDP. He said that the Jonathan was going to run. And Goodluck Jonathan is a member of the PDP. Professor Jerry Ghana is also a member of the PDP. So all indications are that he's going to be running if eventually he becomes a candidate under the platform of the People's Democratic Party. But that in itself is a challenge. I spoke earlier about the fractured nature of the opposition. For you to defeat a very formidable incumbent like the APC, the current ruling party, you need a very cohesive and united opposition party. But what we are seeing is that those fault lines within the opposition political parties are still very much at play. In 2023 general election, whereas the ruling party, the APC, got a total of 8.1 million votes, the main opposition, the PDP, as it was then, got 6.9 million votes. And then the Labour Party that came third got 6.1 million votes. Ordinarily, if you do the math, if the PDP and the APC, PDP and the Labour Party had come together, that would have been something around the region of 13 million votes, as against the 8.1 the APC got. Now, those parties are still there. PDP is still standing, seeking to field a candidate. Labour Party, Peter Obi, is still interested in running on, he wants to be presidential candidate. If the ADC is not going to assure him of the candidacy, he wants to remain in the Labour Party and run. And then you have Atiku Abubakar moving to the ADC, opening the way for a Goodluck Jonathan to also run under the platform of the PDP. It means that whereas the opposition was made divided into two in 2023, in the upcoming general elections, it's going to be three, further reducing, the likelihood or the chances of any of them winning. So the way forward, essentially, is a cohesive opposition arrangement. But with the way we're seeing that everybody wants to run, Atiku is very interested in running. Peter Obi is very much interested in running. He is willing to, even though he was part of those trying to put together the ADC arrangement, the indications are that Atiku is likely to be the candidate. So as a result, he's willing or intending to stay back in the Labour Party and run. And then now with Jonathan coming in, wanting to run also, you have a very fractured opposition parties. So the only chance the opposition had of having a clear shot at presidency is unity. But all indications are it's not going to happen. And then even within the PDP itself, you made the point correctly that FCT Minister Unyesom Ezenwo Wike have a faction that has kind of held the PDP within at its jugular. It's as if it's pulling the apron strings, you know. It control his faction controls the national secretary of the party, Samuel Ayang. In fact, the acting national chairman, Damagun, of the PDP, is a Wike loyalist. And then Wike is at loggerheads with the presidential candidate of the party, which is why Atiku Abubakar left the PDP. You know, he's at loggerheads with the governors of the party, 8 governors of the party, he's at loggerheads with them. So it appears that PDP itself is in a fight against itself. And in that kind of arrangement, except there's a way to, you know, coalesce, to bring them together, it's fait accompli.
So let me ask you, before we go, Ibrahim, do you foresee any of the opposition presidential candidates deciding that, look, Nigeria is bigger than me, let us come together. We have one objective and one objective only. To coalesce, come up with a single candidate, will back that candidate who has the best shot as wrestling power. Do you see this happening ahead of the 2027 general election?
That is the big question. That's the £1 million question or $1 million question. Are key opposition figures willing to subsume their ambition for the collective national interest? If every one of them feels that there have been some economic difficulties as a result of the reforms of this current administration, and that is what every one of them feels that they have a good shot, because people are complaining that the reforms of this current administration have led to some level of hardship, you know, in terms of economically, you know. There has been the fuel subsidy removal. There has been the modernization of the foreign exchange. So there are challenges, so to say, teething challenges for these reforms. So every one of them feels that they ought to be it. And that is where the challenge really lies. Whereas if the opposition could come together, they will stand a better chance of challenging the incumbents. The greater challenge they face is that everybody wants to run. Within the ADC, we have seen that Rotimi Amechi wants to run, Atiku Abubakar wants to run. Peter Obi is only willing to come to the party if he's sure that they will give him the ticket. And then you go to the fact that he's still holding on to the Labour Party because he feels that he is the default candidate for the Labour Party. And then you have Goodluck Jonthan coming in from the PDP. So it's clear that these politicians are not ready, you know, to subsume their personal interest for the collective or the overall national interest. Because, you know, one of the beauty of democracy is the alternative that it offers. Viral alternatives. You know, like in the US, where you are, you know, there's this issue, it's a dual race between the Republicans and the Democrats. In the UK, for example, you see it's between the Conservative and the Labour Party. There is this clear, you know, two opposing views, which either of them having the chance of, in the US, for example, just before Trump came in, it was Joe Biden of a different political party. In the UK, it was, at the time, Rishi Sunak, it was Liz Truss, it was Boris Johnson, all of the Conservative Party, and today we have the Labour Party in charge. But in Nigeria, there is no clear-cut main opposition party, if you may. So, and not even first, we don't have a clear-cut main opposition party. Secondly, is the fact that even within the opposition coalition, there is no reasonable willingness by the major actors to step down their ambition for one another. And so, I don't see it really. I don't really see them stepping down based on what we have seen thus far.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim Momoh, for speaking with us. We look forward to continuing this conversation as the political development unfold in the beautiful country of Nigeria. All the best, Ibrahim.
Thank you for having me. Do have a great day.